all's quiet on the Eastern Front. That is to say, the Russian Western Front. Things are quiet, and no major territory has changed hands. The Germans, they hold their forces in East Poland. The Army Group, the 84th Army Group, holds its position in East Poland with its medium armor, cavalry, mechanized, motorized, and artillery, holding strong in this position, ready to launch an attack against any perceived weakness on the Russian side. The Russians, for their part, are primarily geared towards defense. Their militia and infantry and anti-aircraft guns are difficult to bring the battle towards enemy territory, and so they stand on defensive for now, ready to chop up any German invasion. And it appears to be right now that the Germans and the Russians are at a bit of a stalemate. Whoever makes the first move will likely lose their forces. In the Ukrainian front, things are solid, and the Russians have a good solid defense. In the north front, north of the Pripyat marshes, we see that the Germans can launch their attack into Belarusia, but with enough forces that can react to that, and a major factory here capable of producing plenty of units all at once, well, the Germans also would have trouble, as that would now open up their southern flank to any potential attack. In the north, it appears that the Germans have pulled back from Lapland and moved to Sweden. From this position, they could launch attacks towards Kola Peninsula, but they could react to any invasion by the British, if need be, and launch attacks, counterattacks into any captured territories. The Germans are playing their cards safely right now, perhaps changing tactics towards a defensive strategy to hold on to what victory positions they can manage and have a defense until the end of the war. The Germans are also pretty sneaky. They produced a couple naval transport squadrons, and from these positions they can launch some attacks into foreign parts. For instance, up in Wilhelmshaven, the fleet in this position can go 1, 2, 3 and drop off troops into the Kola Peninsula from the north, at the same time launching attacks from Norland to capture the Kola Peninsula. Perhaps that is their opportunistic moment. Those are forces that pulled back from Estonia and moved to this position here, to the Netherlands, to secure this position for a victory point as well, but now could launch attacks further afield. But at the same time, they threaten Leningrad as well. So where will the attack land? Will it be in Leningrad? Will it be a reinforcement of Estonia? Or will it be northwards towards the Kola Peninsula? Time will tell. So the Russians can't do too much as of just yet. To the south, the Russians are faced with the British moving northwards into southern Iran, threatening to attack Iraq as well. Things are on difficult straits on the Russian southern flank, and so the Russians have to gear themselves in a specific direction to take advantage of whatever situations they can. In the east, against the Japanese, the Russians don't have too many offensive capable units, and any attacks into these territories might see the full-fledged force attack of the Japanese swinging northwards to attack our coastal areas. So perhaps an opportune time is not just yet, and as some of the pressure is let off on the Chinese theater over here, perhaps the Japanese have found other targets to go after. And the only bright spot for the Russians is Istanbul. It seems to be abandoned at this point by the Germans, but perhaps that is a tactic, an ambush prepared for us by the mighty British fleet and the Germans, who have played ball together thus far, and can open on behalf of the Germans. Perhaps this is a bit of a can open for the Germans. By banning Istanbul, it allows the British to sweep in with coastal bombardment and 3 naval transports to capture that position. That would benefit the Germans by taking pressure off the Italians in the Mediterranean, but it also secure this position here and basically hand over the protection of this victory point from the Russians to the British. Is that the avenue they will take? Time will tell if that's the course they wish to go after. Time will tell what happens right now. All right, turning our attention to other parts of the world and what news there are. The Germans, they captured the Netherlands, securing themselves a victory point, as well as securing all the coastal regions. This gives them a victory point, plus the ability to put down coastal artillery or a fortification each and every turn. So being able to protect their holdings from any British attack. The British are, for their part, are still letting the Germans do whatever they want, as long as it's towards the Eastern Front, but now perhaps I'll see things slightly differently, as the German fleet here could threaten both the British islands as well as the Kola Peninsula. Time will tell which direction they'll be. The Americans are now fully involved in the war at a wartime income, I do believe. Not quite right. Yeah, just short of wartime income. And so any assault against these nations, well, that will change things a little bit. We'll have to see how things go. The French, for their part, the Free French, hold on to northern Algeria, and for the most part have diminished the Vichy forces almost entirely, with only Madagascar being in Vichy hands here at the end of the day. Apart from that, things are quite quiet for the French. The British are quiet, securing their escorting positions here in the Atlantic and being content with taking first place thus far. as the Germans and the Soviets negate each other. The Italians are peaceful as well, seeing no chance right now in launching an attack out of their forces. The Japanese, for their part, are in a difficult position holding off the CCP, but at the same time, they are now at war with the British, and with the Dutch East Indies being handed over by a German attack against the Netherlands, perhaps the Japanese will swoop in and pick up all this territory. So it's an interesting turn of events. The FEC, for their part, can afford to send some forces northwards towards Iran and Azerbaijan, but perhaps they'll also be a little bit fearful as the now Japanese forces can swing around, and after they take the Dutch East Indies, can turn their attention towards Calcutta once again. The Anzac keep on protecting their home territories, and that about sums up everything, barring the Americans over here with some forces present in Hawaii. What are they going to do? Well, time will tell. But it looks like, by my read of the situations, the Japanese are at war against the Philippines. So, yeah, that is the case. My apologies for not quite catching that. But yeah, the Americans are fully now at war and already have a heavy battleship present in the fight. Excellent. So that's the situation thus far. We've had a bit of a pause in the game as we were waiting for the Electron, as the Americans had some trouble with his stuff. So yeah, things are turning up interestingly. Let's turn our attention first to the CCP and what are they up to. We're getting them two. They have $6 to spend, getting 2 infantry. The USSR has $56 to spend, and with that they're getting a bunch of stuff: 2 militia upgrades, 3 militia. They're free Spanish International Brigade. They're getting 4 infantry in total, 1 anti-aircraft gun, 1 airborne, 2 T-34s, 1 transport, 1 airfield, and this represents the value of the airfield, and an AA being sent over to the CCP. That's about it. Okay, so let's do some movements for the CCP. What are they up to? They're going to go and capture Szechwan from the Japs with an anti-aircraft gun as well. So now they have what's that? 3 infantry. 3 infantry capturing Szechwan from, oopsie daisy. 3 infantry from the enemy here, or Szechwan, meaning that we can get a little +1 on our income die rolls. And with the absent Japanese forces off of our coast, off the Chinese coast, now we're a little bit more secure here. So we're going to move our non-combat moves here, and that about does it for these guys. So let's roll for our recruitment roll. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is that 9? Yeah, 9. So we roll this out of 9. I already prepared it out of 9 over here. And it's a success. We got a 4. We're going to place a militia down south in Kwaichao and a militia up here in Suyan, securing our front a little bit more. And I'll just duplicate these guys here in Sikang as we place our new units on the board. And that's about it. So I get to delete these guys. What did I grab? And now we turn our attention to the USSR. What are they up to? So we rolled for their technology, and we missed on all 4 rolls. So that's good. We rolled for it on the Discord thing. I hope my luck turns around eventually, and next turn I'll go score, 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 and score. That would be brilliant. But for right now, we can't do anything about that. So for our combat moves, we are going to try to pave the way a little bit to tempt the Germans towards going for the British as opposed to the Kola Peninsula. The reason they want Kola Peninsula is once they capture this position, they could radiate and charge into our interior. That's why I've been so steadfastly trying to defend it. If they can capture that, they can swing their forces, and pretty soon, you know, northern Russia, western Russia, surrounding territories in here, starting to pick off all my valuable territories, and I'll have to kind of condense my forces into basically the defense of cities, something like that. So I've been really hesitant about letting Kola Peninsula go. But nonetheless, what's been saving me is the fact that the tundra limits things to only 1 round of combat, so that's been pretty good. All right, so we're going to pave the way a little bit by an attack here. These 2 subs are going to go 1, 2, attack over here. We did talk to the Brits, and they are not scrambling. And these guys, we did talk to the Germans. They are going to let us pass through, so that's quite nice of them as well. So we're going to come here, engage the coastal defense ship and TB destroyer. Our subs get first strike, which is awesome as well. Okay, what else are we doing? We're going to attack this British can opening unit here. Boom. Good choice, bad choice, not sure, but these light tanks are coming in as well. At the very least, we'll distract the enemy and threaten their interior areas there, threaten Helsinki, etc. So there'll be a little battle there too. Then we're going to try to go for Istanbul. We're going to take this, we're going to go for the mousetrap and see if it actually is a mousetrap. So we're going to send these 3 guys here. Actually, let me just think. 1, 2, 3. I might not actually send the anti-aircraft gun. I don't know if I need it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. By my math, only 1 unit can get there, so that's pretty good. So we'll send this guy instead. So 4 infantry coming in here. And that, in theory, could hold off some of the 1, 2, 4. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They could land on a carrier, and that carrier can go to 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So maybe we will send an anti-aircraft gun. We'll leave it as is. Alright, so we're going to go here, attack that area. And we also want to eliminate some of the landing zones here for the enemy, and we're going to go after these French units. So in Syria, we're going to go in there with 3 fighters, an airborne, 3 infantry basic with a marine there, and the transport's going to drop off some troops as well. And then we're going to have a tactical bomber coming in. 1, 2, 3. He still has a couple movements. 4, 5 if we like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. Yeah, they're all the same. And a fighter from up here. 1, 2, 3, 4. He has 1 more space he can move. So a little bit of a battle there. Lots of air units being taking in that. And if I'm not mistaken, that is it. Yes, that is it. So let's leave the best for last. Let's start with the simplest we can. So starting with this battle here, we have 3 infantry at 2, and then 2 pinks here, which are the light tanks at 1. So we'll see if we can score some hits. So we got 1 hit only, and the enemy infantry rolling a 4, missing at an 8. So we capture Viipuri province, which I believe also means that we can actually take off this fortification. Or does the fortification stay with us? Based on this Maginot line, I think it stays with us, but I could be wrong. Not that it really matters because it's faced the wrong way, so I think we'll just simply take it off. But whatever, we'll leave it there for now. Okay, that battle concludes. Turning our attention next to this one is the next simplest. So we have our heavy cruisers doing a shore bombardment. I believe it's out of 2, and it succeeds out of 2. So that was very lucky. Or is it a 1? No, heavy cruiser succeeds. So no combat occurs. We take off this militia. Nice. I didn't expect that. I thought we would struggle there a little bit, but yeah, we managed to capture that. Good stuff. Okay, and then we have our naval battle here. So we do our 2 first strikes out of 3 here. I'm rolling it because I don't want it to fluke out. We got 1 first strike, and I think it might even be a target selection unless that's a 1. It is a 1, so no target selection. So we just take off this puppy here, this TB destroyer, and otherwise we miss. And then we have our light cruiser. Light cruiser will be, or let's say our torpedo boat destroyer, or our regular destroyer will be here at a 4, and this one will be at a 5. I should have done it the other way around. Miss. And the enemy, for their part, they only have 1 coastal defense ship, which is at a 6 or less, and they miss. Look at that. So we have a 2 out of 3. Miss. 1 out of 3, let's say, 1 out of 3 for our destroyer, yeah, and we managed to sink the enemy. And just in case I missed, 1 out of whatever it is, a 5 or something like that. Sorry, 1 out of 4 for a destroyer, 1 out of 5, and the enemy rolls here with a 7. They miss. So far so good. Very few losses occurred to the Soviets as they crushed their way across the board. This couldn't have got any better, but hey, it'll be interesting to see what the Brits do to spawn. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, they can, this guy 1, 2. They can go around all the way here if they so choose to do so. That'll be kind of interesting to see how that pans out. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Anyways, it'll be interesting. Last battle we have is this one here. So I put this one on the battle board because I didn't want to mess it up. Let's take a peek down here. I didn't prepare any dice though. So here we go. Let's roll for the tactical first. It's going to be 7 or less, and we miss. Rolling for the fighters with a aircraft strike here. That's 2. Sorry, a 6 and a 1, so 2 hits. That's pretty good. And then we have airborne here at a 2 because he gets +1 from airborne combat, -1 because of the mountains. And then we have 1, 2, 3 over here. And a miss on all those. So only 2 hits from the air. And the enemy, for their part, they have 1 at 6, 1 at, and the rest at 4 over here. So basically 2 hits expected. An 8, so that missed. That was a crucial one. And then these puppies here. 1 hit here. So I can take off the air units. because this one doesn't do a air attack yet, and because both my fighters hit, so success, success, and they take off one of my units, which don't think it has to be airborne. Maybe it does have to be airborne. Let's take off the airborne then. Ah, we'll see. I'll take off the airborne regardless then. Okay, so we go into round 2. Here is our tactical success. With a target selection and the success there. So they're wiped out. But just in case, we'll roll these 3. And 3 successes there. So that's enough to wipe them out. And for their part, they have 2 here. And 2 misses. So all in all, a very solid win by us. Only losing 1 airborne in the entirety of the fight. So I'm going to just delete this so that the next person doesn't have a mess on their hands to clean up. So really, really excellent attack. We take off the airborne. We take off these guys. We take off the medium bomber. And we take off this marker here off of Syria. And that is a declaration of war against the Free French. So I don't think there's any harm in doing that right now. So these 3 guys are parked here now. Now, of course, it could hit us next turn. We're fully expecting that. That's why we are dropping off our aircraft to this position in central Anatolia, barring the transport plane is coming over here. Our tactical plane is coming here as well. Alright, and I think that does it for our combat moves. All the reds have been accounted for. And now we just move on to the non-combat phase. So, we're going to get non-combat and infantry across to here. We're going to non-combat the 98th Army Group down to Transcaucasus. 3 cavalry are going to come down to Eastern Anatolia. And the seaplane is going to come to Eastern Anatolia as well. These 3, while I'm looking at them, Republican ships are going to come here, kind of shadowing our fleet. Just training is essentially what's going on. Training up for our forces as well. I wonder if I should put that heavy cruiser here into port. I think I will. Bit of a prize here. So heavy cruisers going into port. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 5 hits against any potential 6, plus any aircraft they send into the fight. Okay. And then we're going to send... This infantry comes down south. This guy comes down south. It's not marked, but this militia comes in here. These 3 militia are going to march into this position here. This militia down here. These 2 T-34s are going to be sent to the railed to the 98th Army Group. Perfect. I think I made these a little on the big side. Zoom, zoom. Beauty. And then let's move some more forces around. These 2 militia come over to Moscow. And these 3 guys move from here to Western Russia. These 4 guys come to here. And this guy comes up to Kola Peninsula to protect against a potential attack here by the Germans. Although, is that enough to hold them back? I'm not too certain. Alright. And then, of course, on the Eastern Front, we move some dudes around as well. Okay, and then these 2 submarines. We're not doing any convoy raiding. Don't want to antagonize the enemy just yet, but we're going to come off to coastal Japan there. And if that might just do it here at the end of the day. Okay, we have a recruitment roll here for the Spanish at a 4 or less. And an 8. We missed 2 times in a row, but on the flip side, the CCP has been successful many, many times over, so that's pretty good. Okay. Can't think of what else needs to be moved, so let's get some boys on the board. We have the CCP gets their anti-aircraft gun here. So that deletes that. These 2 guys are gone, and everything else gets pulled onto the board. And we're focusing our attention, since things seem to be somewhat stable on the East Front. We're going to try to defend our forces down south. So, we're going to get another 2 T-34s built. Come on. Put them down south here. One, 2. There. What do they think of that? Okay, that's that. We're also going to build all these guys here too. So I could build 8 because I have major factory there. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if the enemy decides that they want to go for Azerbaijan, they might have another thing coming as they're faced with that coming down the pipeline. The International Brigade shows up over here. And then we have our transport. We're going to build import over here in Crimea. And then we have our militia. Now, I'm still a little bit on the fence about this one. We're going to upgrade a militia over here to infantry and place a militia there for sure. So that's 2 infantry and 1 militia. So that takes care of those ones. And then we have a militia being placed. Sorry. Yeah, an infantry upgraded and a militia placed here in Azerbaijan. And then we have 1 militia left over. And I think we're going to put that one over in Ankara. I think that makes sense to me. So that's the scoop. That's all what we've got going on. And, yeah. Yeah, I think I'm pretty content with that. I think that makes sense to me. Okay, so we're going to clear all lines on the table. Look at our income here. So the CCP still has $4 with a +2 there, so that's $6. But these guys have gone up to 54. Isn't that a bit of a decline from what we had before? Let me think. 54. Did we lose territory? Did we gain some bucks? Yeah, I think we gained some bucks. Sorry guys, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, so +3. Okay, 54 +3, yeah, that's 57. So we're $1 more than what we had last turn. I thought we'd gain more because we picked up 1 here, 1 here, but I guess we lost that. So yeah, I guess it is only the $1, and the one in Finland wasn't worth anything. Alright, so that's it for us. Thank you all for watching, and I appreciate your guys' support and your comments. And, you know, yeah, I do appreciate it. And thank you guys for compliments, too. It's not just comments of any kind. I do appreciate compliments, too. And I know this isn't the super most interesting thing for people, but I enjoy it, and it's fun. And I intend eventually to make some other videos, too. It's just been busy lately. Okay, guys, I appreciate it. Talk to you later. Cheers.